This is not a Kokomi hate video. I am not calling your character bad, so before you come for my throat, please just hear me out. So for the past few days, all I've seen is healer meta videos. Like every time I log into YouTube, it's a video that's like, new healer meta, or like, you need heals for the Spiral Abyss 11, and obviously you do, right? The new effect in Spiral Abyss 11 makes it very difficult to beat without a healer. In fact, I would argue impossible if you don't have speedrun characters. And even then, they kind of designed this Abyss to not be super speedrunnable, so it's... you definitely need to build a healer. And for most people, this isn't like super big news. Most people are using a healer in all of their teams, but I guess the big difference is now that you actually have to level them, some people are pretty upset with the state of floor 11. In the past, in Genshin Impact, you could kind of get away with just leaving your healers at level 60 or below, because honestly, healers just output so much healing in this game, with the exception of probably only Diona. No, even Diona heals enough, right? Like, all the healers in this game can be good at minimum investment, at least at their job, right? I'm not saying every healer's a DPS. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that Spiral Abyss 11 is a lot harder for a lot of people than we were expecting. And miHoYo's reasoning for that is that they want you to pull on Kokomi. They do this every patch where they try to cater Spiral Abyss towards a new character that comes out, or maybe two new characters, so that way you are incentivized to pull on them. But luckily for us, we're at the point in Genshin Impact where there's enough characters on the roster that kind of can fulfill those niches. Even if it takes two characters to fill one character's niche, you should still be able to clear Abyss without rolling for the new characters. So essentially what I'm saying is that you don't need Kokomi to clear floor 11. And in fact, most of you don't need Kokomi at all. So let me explain. miHoYo officially released information on Kokomi's kit, and I was pretty happy with what they put out. I think they put out a sufficient amount of information for us to decide what kind of role she would fit in. The only thing we can't really get a gauge on is how much damage she's doing unless you look at leaks, but even then it's still kind of iffy. Kokomi's kit allows her to summon a jellyfish, and that jellyfish is going to heal over time and do a little bit of damage over time, it looks like. So it's kind of like crunching Chi-Chi's niche and Fischl's niche together into one character, and then her burst is a DPS window. We'll have to see if that ends up being a DPS gain or loss in other teams. There's lots of things that can affect that. But if you caught what I said a second ago, filling Chi-Chi and Fischl's niche. So the thing is, Fischl isn't a healer, so you don't necessarily need to put her niche into a healing position. Like, we don't need Oz to heal. Oz does damage over time. So that basically just means that the healing portion of her kit is the most similar thing we're going to see to it is probably Chi-Chi. Barbara could also be similar, but the main difference would be that Barbara can't proc tenacity, and that her elemental skill doesn't do damage after the first hit. But okay, so where are we going with this? The idea is that Kokomi doesn't offer anything new. Her elemental burst window looks like it might be a unique thing to her, and obviously it's going to offer more healing, but again, that's also on-field time that we don't know if we want to take yet. So it just kind of puts Kokomi in this weird place where if you have Chi-Chi, you don't need Kokomi. And here's the other part of that. Not a lot of people use Chi-Chi to begin with. So if Chi-Chi exists and people aren't using Chi-Chi that often, and Kokomi does the same thing, you can kind of infer that not a lot of people are going to use Kokomi for her value on the field or off the field. They would probably just be using her because they like the character, which is totally fine. Now, there's a couple points that you're probably thinking I'm missing right now, like Kokomi has the ability to vaporize or create opportunities for you to vaporize, or Kokomi can be run in permafreeze. And that's true. I actually think that Kokomi will do a good thing for Xingqiu and let him be free to your other Abyss team. So you could use a permafreeze team on one side with Kokomi, and you could use Xingqiu on the other team for a vaporize team. Like if you like to run National, or if you're using Hu Tao, just stuff like that, you'll be able to use Xingqiu on that team and still have permafreeze on that team. Because while you can run permafreeze with Barbara, it is a pain in the ass. So I do acknowledge that that is a strong point of Kokomi, but if you're free to play or a low spender, I don't necessarily think that's enough to make her worth rolling on. Here's the other point that I think a lot of people are going to try to argue with me about, and that's that, like, maybe Kokomi is the strongest healer in the game. Maybe Kokomi has the most heals. Maybe Kokomi's healing is just insane. This kind of brings me back to my first points about how every single healer in the game heals enough. Diona might not keep up as easily, but every single healer in the game at high investment can heal your team to max like it's no problem at all. The three exceptions to this are Hu Tao, Zhongli, and Kokomi. But then that brings us to another point, like Zhongli often isn't below half health, and if he is, he has a giant shield, so you're not going to be taking much damage anyways, so it's very unlikely that your Zhongli's going to die, and Hu Tao wants to be in the bottom 50% anyways. So if you healed her to max, that wouldn't actually be great. I can already imagine all the trolling that's going to happen where Kokomi mains just join Hu Tao players' worlds and heal them and just leave. So you don't you don't need her heal. Her healing is like, even if it's the best in the game, it's not necessary yet. We might see that change in the future, but I highly doubt miHoYo would not release another healer of that caliber if content was going to be upscaled. So if you're on the fence about rolling for Kokomi, those are all really good things to know. That there are other healers in the game that can already do their job well enough to not justify you needing another healer. Now, again, if you like Kokomi, you like her design, you like her kit. I think her kit is interesting, but I think her design is very cool. I love the way she looks. Then pull for her. Obviously, if you want the character, then get the character. But if you're just looking for the best bang for your wish, Kokomi's probably not it, especially if you've lost a 50-50 and gotten Chi-Chi before, then just build your Chi-Chi. Like, Chi-Chi performs so well in this Abyss, and the only reason I didn't make a video showcasing that is because she stole my goddamn Kazuha! Sorry, I got a little emotional there. The other great thing about Chi-Chi is that, like Kokomi, she can proc Tenacity the Millith. So if you have something like Sacrificial Sword to kind of circumvent the downtime of her elemental skill, you'll have some pretty good healing coming out. Outside of Chi-Chi comes the return of Jean. Jean is really good this Abyss, mostly because when you use her burst, it heals everyone. Her Dandelion Breeze field doesn't heal everyone, it's just the initial activation. But her healing is like really, really strong, and she has Viridescent. And that's another reason you can run Sayu as well. If you're free to play and you have Sayu, Sayu heals a pretty dang good amount and activates Viridescent Venerer, so you're gonna have access to that in Abyss as well. Fuck man, even Barbara's good this Abyss. Barbara's actually nuts this Abyss. Barbara's insane, especially considering that on the second side of floor 11, there are Pyro Shields. You can literally just run them over. And you saw I also used Bennett this Abyss. Like, if you have enough energy recharge on any of your healing supports for their elemental burst, you can make it through floor 11. Now, does this mean there's a healer meta? No, it doesn't. This is the same way you've been playing Genshin Impact. The only difference is that you're paying attention to your HP, and if you're not healing as much as you need to, you just level up your healers. It's called investing into your characters. This is not a shift towards more healers. Sure, you could just Zhongli your way to victory before because there was no corrosion. But even if you look at the most used Spiral Abyss characters from last year, most people are using Xingqiu, most people are using Bennett. Diona's one of the top picks. Jean is number 14 now, but Jean used to be a lot higher than that. People ran healers anyways. The difference is that now you need to invest into them. And it's not just investment too, you do have to pay attention to what's going on around you. Like, I will say one of the harder things about floor 11 is that if you're not just spamming out heals as much as possible, you do have to be paying attention to your character's health. There were so many times when I did this live at twitch.tv/Braxophone, go follow for live content, where I almost killed a character just because I was not paying attention to their health. And you have to be so ready for that. But if you have enough energy recharge or enough battery on your teams, you're gonna be fine. I promise, you're gonna be fine. Now, newer players, completely free-to-play players, let me tell you, it is not easy doing this shit free-to-play. Like, you are obviously gonna have a lot more challenges because you have a less dense roster, but one of the best things you can do for your account is to invest into really solid supports, and those would be Bennett, and in my opinion, another good one is Diona. Obviously, Xingqiu you should invest into, but not as a healer, in my opinion. Xingqiu healing is kind of a bonus. Diona has an amazing shield and provides passive healing in her burst, and as a result of that, is easily one of the strongest healers in the game, not because of how much healing she actually does, but because of how much overall utility she has. So I guess better wording for that would have been strongest supports, but honestly, all supports in this game are pretty strong. So anyways, this video's gone on a bit long, so I appreciate you guys listening to my rant, but the main things you need to take away from this is, no, it's not a healer meta. Healers have always been around and used. The difference is you have to manage your health better, which ultimately comes down to investment and skill. And a lot of people that might make people upset. I'm sorry. I'm not saying you're bad if you can't clear 11. What I'm saying is 11 definitely is a step up in the amount of attention you have to actually pay to what's going on in the game, but you don't necessarily need Kokomi to fix that. You can fix that with Diona, you can fix that with Barbara, you can fix that with any characters that heal that you lost your 50-50 to. All in all, I believe in you guys. You can clear 11. I have faith. Invest in your healers, give them some energy recharge, and I promise you guys, you will have a much easier time. On the topic of Spiral Abyss 12, that DPS check can fuck right off. Hey everyone, YouTube Members is live on this channel. Finally, you can become a member of the channel if you're interested to get exclusive emotes, a special badge next to your name, special contact with me, a special name color when you're in YouTube live streams, and so much more. I encourage you to click the link down in the description and look into becoming a YouTube member if you're interested in supporting the channel. Thanks to our current members already, and I will see you guys later.